Alright, so this is my exchange in France. Going through very quickly, this is the very short version. Anyways, I get to Toulon, France in the south. We go on a couple trips to Marseille, my friends and I that I met through Erasmus. There's a lot of beaches in the area, and boom, Rome. So I go with my friends who are also studying abroad in Italy. I explore Rome, love it. Then Naples, and then here's a little more of Naples. The food in Italy is immaculate, and back home I also went to Pompeii. Now, I went for my winter break 2 weeks in Paris, an amazing time. I loved every bit of it. And I stayed in this Marais, the Jewish section. When I came back, I went to Genova with my friends and I explored Toulon. This is Florence, which I went to, and Bologna, and Verona, and Venice in one day after a very harrowing Flixbus journey. This is after my friends left. I went to Verona and Murano, and now I'm back in Toulon, beer festival, hanging out with Erasmus. Very nice. I explore around Toulon, Hyères. It's a great time. I very much enjoy the surroundings of the Mediterranean, and that's why I also visit Toulon, Hyères, a couple places around it. That's campus, and then this is Cap Garonne. This is my favorite views around the Mediterranean, and then we went on a skiing trip with the rest of Erasmus around mid-March. It was a great time, learned to ski. And then here is me in Catalina, Sicily. Here's Taormina. I also went to Palermo and Noto. And honestly, amazing resort vibes. Very expensive though, but the seafood is immaculate. My last day in Taormina when the weather was perfect. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Now, here's more pictures of Taormina because I loved it. Here's back in Nice in early April. And I went with a friend and we just walked up to Ez, a very harrowing journey. It was very tiring. Do not walk up to Ez, it's on a mountain, but we loved the views. It was amazing, as you can tell from these views here. Okay. And so we've got some good views. And this is my walk down, which is objectively a lot easier. And here's more of Nice. My last time visiting Nice, I went there about 4 or 5 times during my trip. It was a 2-hour train travel, and I had the subscription, which saved me about $3,000, or euros, if you will. Here's me in one of the beaches around Toulon. And finally, I went on another trip. This is me in Bruges and then Gand, Belgium. This is Lille, northeast France, and then back to Paris for 2 weeks. I meet some Germans in the hostel, and then here we are back in again with my friends. Here's the Germans that I met again. And of course, there you see my German friends. We went around Paris in the Rue de Mouffetard. And here's more of Paris after they left. And after everyone else, I just explored some parks by myself. This is my second time in Paris. I spent about a month there over the last year. And then here is Bordeaux, because I was going on a very long trip. Spent about a day there. I loved the architecture and cathedrals. And then here's Barcelona, where this is my third out of the four destinations. Montjuic, the Citadella Park, the amazing fountains. There were some peacocks walking around, and then the beaches, which are really nice. And of course, I'm always staying in Airbnbs, hostels, taking cheap flights as much as I can. Here's the Gothic Quarter, the Barcelona Cathedral, and then Las Ramblas. Yeah. Here are more pictures. Here's the Sagrada Familia, which I paid to go inside. It was expensive, but it was worth it. One of the best churches I got. And beer on a train. Who doesn't love that? Now here's Valencia, famous for its market. And Old Town, of course. Very nice, lovely, very Baroque. Here's some more pictures of Neptune. And then the famous Art of the Cities and Sciences. Very modern, very futuristic. You can go to all of them. I only went to the museum for a couple hours. Back to Marseille, and then here's Toulon again. Here's Cassis. So we went to the Calanques and went through the old town. Meet my friend Anna, who's from Geneva, and we went to the first of the Calanques. And I got in the water, but it was freezing cold, extremely bitter, but it was beautiful nonetheless. And this was around May, so the water in the Mediterranean really didn't get warm until much later in the year. Here's back the old town of La Garde, where campus is. Views from my dormitory, and my mom came and visited in early May. And now my mom and I started our month-long trip. Here's Florence, our first location, and lots of beautiful architecture, as you can see. Everything about this is extremely, unbelievable. The food, the architecture, the sculptures, the art museums. Its location in the heart of, well, I don't know, but it's around Tuscany, or if not in Tuscany. And because of that, we were able to take several trips to what you will see in a couple of seconds. Siena. And here's more of Florence. Lots of traveling around, some steak. And here is Siena, largest plaza in the world, I believe. Lots of people taking comfortable seats on the plaza. Amazing cacio e pepe. This is just cheese and pepper in Italian. Cathedral, more views of Siena. Very nice Tuscan town. And then from there, we took a trip to San Gimignano, which another amazing place and quite idyllic, quite photogenic. I don't know, but amazing countryside. I absolutely will be going back here. This would have been around May 7th, May 8th. It was very rainy. We had to take a lot of local transportation to get there, but the transportation in Europe is quite amazing compared to the USA, so we were able to do it without a problem. I've gotten pretty good at figuring out transportations of cities I've never been to, so it was a boon to have all of this knowledge at this point, at the end of my exchange. Here's more of Florence, the Uffizi Museum. Here is I believe that's a Medici Palace, and then more pizza. Now we're in Bologna because we're about to take a flight back to Prague, or I guess to visit Prague. Oh no, actually Vienna. Vienna's the next destination. So we took a flight to Vienna, got there, couple days in a very elegant Baroque city. Not Baroque city, actually, quite the contrary. The city is extremely wealthy, and you can tell it just by walking. Everything's extremely clean. That's St. Patrick's Cathedral, I believe, or I'm not sure. But anyways, walking around, this was in the market, Nacht Market, I think. Night Market, I believe, is the translation. Here's a beer garden in Prater, which is an amusement park in the north of Vienna. And then walking around, here's Schönbrunn Palace, very famous, but we went on a rainy day, but it was okay. That's very good. I forget the name. Goulash, I believe. And this is more Schönbrunn. We went to the Tiergarten Zoo, which is quite close to Schönbrunn. Schönbrunn, I don't know how to say. But lovely, lovely time. Then we went to one of the famous cafes in Vienna. This is the most famous of them all, Cafe Central. There was a line going outside of it, quite long. But we got in, nonetheless. Here was a concert we went to for the Four Seasons, Vivaldi. Desserts, which Vienna is famous for, and Sachertorte, which I loved, which was just that black chocolate cake. Here I went to see The Kiss, and then this was in the Belvedere, the last museum before we went to Prague. So here is Prague, and like a fairy tale come to life. I mean, absolutely amazing, beautiful plaza, city square, location, architecture. The first day we got there, it was simply just seeing the main attraction, the St. Charles Bridge, walking around Old Town, having some good beer right off the plaza. More, I forgot the name of the word, but anyways, extremely nice. Oh, the breakfast at the hotel was very nice as well. And then just traveling around the river, it was good views all around. We went across the St. Charles Bridge to St. Vincent. This was the cathedral in Prague Castle. Walked around Prague Castle, toured inside and outside. Very worth it. And then by myself, I went around Prague while it was rainy. The city is very famous for its Jewish center, Jewish quarter. I took some portraits. And then finally, Edinburgh. So, Edinburgh, Scotland. So, this was refreshing, all this nice weather after such rainy weather. This was this Derby village, I believe, is a little far away from Edinburgh. Not too far by public transport, but of course, here's the Royal Mile, which everything is centered around. And I just had a very enjoyable time here. Here's the Edinburgh Castle, uh, complete with some of the gravestones around. This is where the terrier was buried. I forgot what the name of the dog, but more pictures around where J.K. Rowling wrote the Harry Potter, and you can tell how. It's very, very, very Harry Potter looking. Here is the Museum of Context that's inspired by Harry Potter. And I climbed up Arthur's Seat by myself. It was nice views. And then back down, here is London. So we saw the Shakespeare Globe. Here's some St. James Park, Hyde Park, and just walking around the side, more of Hyde Park, and then finally back to Nice. Here's Marseille a little bit, and more pictures of Marseille, and here is Avignon, where the Pope's Palace used to be. Here was Monaco during the Grand Prix, which I got to see, friends of mine. And this is Toulon's own market. This was right outside campus. My friends and I went to see the beach. This was Plage de Morillon. This was close. This is near the Tour Royale. Then we went to another plage. This is Beau Rouge. Here is me and the beach with my friends. Very nice. And then we partied on the beach with the other French students. This is Cape Garonne again. And then this is here, the Isle de Porquerolles. That's Plage de Opera. Very nice beach. Then I start my psychotic travel, or more psychotic travel, because I traveled nonstop like a crazy person. I just did not let myself rest. But that's okay, because I got to see a lot, like Switzerland here. This is Montreux and Lausanne. Finally, here's Amsterdam. I had about 1 day per place, but that was all I needed, because I got to see basically as much as I wanted to. And that's exactly what I asked for. I'm going to see a lot of pictures of Amsterdam because I enjoyed the mess out of these canals. This was the park, Vondel Park, I believe it's called, and quite beautiful. That's the Rijks Museum. I forget the name, but it's the famous museum. I didn't get to go inside, but it's fine. This is red light district, just walking around at night. It's very touristy, lots of families, you'd be surprised. And here's more of Vondel Park the next day. More canals. And really just pretty. It's like Venice. They're both very pretty. Here's like a little nunnery inside of Amsterdam. Here's some fries with mayonnaise. I guess that's a food there. I'm not complaining. And now I went to the countryside of Amsterdam. This was Edam, where it's famous for its local cheese produce. There were no tourists here anymore. At this point, I just only saw local families. And this was June, so this would have been the tourist season. This is Volendam. Now, this is touristy, so I did see tourists. This was the coastal city. And then back to Amsterdam for. Oh, sorry, this is Haarlem. Haarlem, Netherlands, where my friend was born. And I enjoyed the views here too. The main plaza. The bell was broken or something because it kept ringing, but I got a really good burger for dinner, which should be coming up right there. And yeah, transportation there was great, so I went back to Amsterdam, just walked around because I didn't know what else to do, and then back to Berlin. Here's Berlin, sausages, malls. Amazing vibe from Berlin already just on the first day. This was at 6 o'clock p.m. and it's still light like that. It's crazy. Um, you can tell it's a city marked by uh, you know vile history, but it's also got some amazing architecture, museums, and natural beauty as well. Right there's the Spree River. The next day I did in the Berlin Wall. I did a free walking tour, the Jewish Memorial, the topography of terror. I got some Irish food, and then just walking around, more cathedrals and stuff. That's a kebab. Here's the Pergamon Museum. Here's the bombed out Kaiser Church. And then finally, I'm in Munich, in the south of Germany, Bavaria, famous for its old traditional ways. I went on the anniversary of the president's election or something, so I got to go inside the president's office, got to go around the English gardens, which were my favorite part. Just lots and lots of nature. Here's the Munich residence, where the kings would have lived, and the Hofbrauhaus, very famous beer house, very popular as well. Here's Salzburg. I took a little Flixbus journey. It was rainy and stormy, but it didn't stop me from enjoying it. That's where The Sound of Music was filmed, and then this would have been the road that Mozart was born on. There's some Salzburger, a very famous dessert, views across the river, and views up towards the fortress that I didn't get to, but maybe one day. I wouldn't mind coming back. It was very pretty. And back to, oh, here's a little picture from B Reel. Back to Munich. This is where I met my friends, Duarte and Parker, had some Italian food, funnily enough, and then went back to the Englisher Gardens with them, spent more time, and yeah, it was a good time. Lots of full around, or foul. Anyways, went inside some of the churches, climbed up one of the churches, got some good views all around, and there's Marienplatz, and then here I took a trip to Athens, or sorry, I took a plane from, well, to Athens. So here is me exploring the Acropolis, the famous thing that everyone goes to see on the top of the hill with all the older architecture. There's the temple, or the Pantheon, I believe. And then here's views. It was very hot that day, but I brought my umbrella. There it is in all of its glory. And then I walked down. Here's me on a hill facing it. And I went to the Roman Forum. Here's the Agora. I also went to Hadrian's Library, but this is still me in the Agora. There's Hephaestus's temple, which is the most intact temple in the Agora. And as you can see, lots of old stuff. This is Monostaki Square, and I got some amazing food that Guy Fieri himself tried. Here's some Car Square? I'm not sure. But anyways, that's the soldiers doing the salute. Here's more stuff around Athens. Here's the actual architectural museum. And then just walking around, um, seeing lots of old architecture. Finally got my trip to Santorini after a very late plane ride and a very expensive taxi that I took with a friend I met at the airport. Views of Santorini, that's Fira, the capital of Santorini, Santorini being the island, Fira being the capital, the town that I stayed in, that my hostel was in. Your views from more. I climbed all around. The island's big. It would take me about 3 hours to get from the middle to the very north point, so I didn't do all that. But anyways, here's me on Kamari, one of the black sand beaches. I went to Oya, saw some of the sunsets, the famous sunset poster card. It was very crowded though. I got back though, and then here's my views. I met a guy named Tim from Australia on the bus to one of the other beaches. This is Parissa, another black beach. He's from Australia, and we met an Australian couple, so I learned a lot about Australian beaches, and it was very nice. It was a very, very fun time. Then I went to the Red Beach Sand, or that was the Red Rock. Met another person from New York, amazingly, and then that before was the old architectural center of Santorini. Now here is Crete, the island in the south of Greece where the Greeks go on vacation. First thing I did was Elefantisi Beach, one of the most famous beaches in Crete and Greece. Spent some time there with all of my bags, all four of them. Did a little trip, but you know what? Worth it. Spent about 3 or 4 hours there. I hiked all of this. It took me about 20 to 25 minutes, but hey, you know what? Very beautiful, best beach I've ever been to. It's definitely earned its reputation, and yeah, it's hard to get a grasp of just how long it was. But the water was super clear, the sand was super pink, and they told people not to take any because that's apparently a problem that they've had in the past. Anyways, at this point, it would have been June um, 12th, 13th. So at this point, my vacation's coming to an end. This is the last place I went to. Um, More pictures of Khania, and then I got a really good Italian food. Views from Khania, the Venetian harbor, which it's famous for, and I stayed in a hostel and really enjoyed my hostel. There's some ice cream that I got. There's the Venetian harbor, and then I finally climbed up to the lighthouse and just looked over the bay. And I just enjoyed the old town of Khania. It's just a cool place. At this point, I went to Rethymno, which is another city in Crete, about halfway to Heracropolis. I don't know, the famous city in Crete. I did not go there, but I went here, and there is a Venetian fortress on the top of the hill in Rethymno, which I did visit for about €5 with a student discount. Most museums and everything in Europe are extremely affordable, so that was an amazing option for me. On top of the Venetian fortress, lots of things were already destroyed, whatever. But I got down to the tavern, had some amazing, it was like stew inside of this flaky dough. It was incredible. And then this was actually the day that I was leaving for my flight. So I got back to Toulon, last like 3 or 4 days, went to the Plage des Sablettes on the other side of Toulon from where I stayed. Here's more of Old Town, and just admiring the architecture of it was incredible. And I had nothing else to say. I went to Bandol, which is probably one of the more crowded beaches that I was at in France, but completely worth it. Here's more Old Town. Some of the friends I made from Erasmus. We rafted. I rafted into this cave where it had this little underwater section. I didn't go in, but we just swam around, and it was amazing. Here's Plage du Monaco, not in Monaco, still in Prades, which is a commune of Lagarde. Here's Margarita and I, friend, and we went to the Festival of Music on the last day. There were about 20 bands in each of the squares in Toulon. You could walk between them all, and it was very fun. Yeah, more pictures that Marg took, and just pictures that I took of my friends before I left. So this is me leaving now for Dublin, my last city on my way back to. There's feijoada, very nice Brazilian food. Lots of Brazilians in Dublin. It's Brazilian culture and food, and some churches which I really enjoyed the architecture of. And yeah, this was my last stop before going home. This would have been June 22nd, 23rd. Um, just traveling around. Here's the Trinity College, Temple Bar, uh, lots of bars, lots of pubs, and overall, good time. Walked along the River Luffy? I'm not sure. Anyways, the second day I went to Glendalough, a little day trip from Dublin. You know, old tombstones, old monastery. But Glendalough means like the two lakes or something. I'm not completely sure, but this was the monastery section of it, and then I walked to the actual part of the two lakes. It was pretty cloudy, which meant there weren't a lot of tourists, and the hike was pretty nice. Took about an hour to get to the start. Here's the start of the waterfall section. So first I did the waterfall, I went up the mountain, then I went right back down. Saw some old Irish cathedrals, and here's the start of the two lakes. Then I walked along it. Huge, sprawling mountains, and used to be an actual quarry on the other side too. And yeah, here's just a couple of videos that I've took in the Glendalough region. I'm gonna go back here just to go back to one of the videos that I didn't let play all the way, but this was a 360 panorama from the walking trail going back to the tour bus. Quite pretty. Irish countryside. Very nice. Very nice. And yep, so on we go. This is more Dublin with my friend Mito, and then finally I am back. Here are all the places I went to on my exchange, and here's a short little video that Apple iPhotos made for me. Included a couple of the pictures from the trip. A couple of the really nice pictures. This is all around Toulon. A couple of the beaches there. And just walking around the Tour Royale. Plage de la Mitre. That's one of the beaches. And yeah, lots of beaches around Toulon. I consider myself very lucky getting to stay in the south of France, a lot warmer than Paris. And here's the rugby stadium that a lot of people were going to because the rugby championship was going on. And here are some pictures. Oops. Here are some pictures of well, here's the harbor in Toulon. And here are some of my favorite pictures that I took with my friends that I made along the way. Anyways, all in all, I was very lucky to have been able to go on this exchange, and I would I would do it again in a heartbeat. Thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate you giving me your time and leave you off with some of these beautiful pictures. Thank you.